What is up, guys? Welcome back to Reject Films, back with another review for you guys from the Warner Archive collection. And this is one of the few Stephen King movies I haven't seen yet. And I always heard this was a really good film. It just didn't ever really appeal to me when I was younger or whatever, so I just kind of kept avoiding it for whatever reason. It took me a while to get to watching this one since it's been sent to me for review, mainly because it runs 131 minutes. And it's more of a drama type film, which I got to be in a certain mood to kind of watch these kind of movies, and I've just been so tired here lately with work and everything else going on that I just really wanted to get to it at a time where I could really pay attention and invest in this film. But that is Dolores Claiborne from 1995. Like I said, runs 131 minutes. And it has a 7.4 on IMDb, so that's a really good score for IMDb. Of course, you got Kathy Bates, Jennifer Jason Leigh in here. You also have John C. Reilly, who plays one of the plays Constable Frank Stanshaw, I think is his name. And then you got Christopher Plummer in here as well, who plays Detective Mackey. That's the most notable names. And it was kind of weird seeing John C. Reilly in a role like this, you know, playing pretty much like a sheriff or whatever like that, and playing a serious role. I haven't really went back and watched too many of his films before he became the big comedy star that he is today. And I think he did a pretty good job in this for, you know, playing a serious role and everything. So that was kind of different. And of course, Kathy Bates is always great in everything she does, and Jennifer Jason Leigh, I've always been a fan of hers too, and Christopher Plummer, you know, just a iconic actor. But yeah, really fantastic film though. You know, for being as long as it was, you know, being over 2 hours long, and it definitely kept my attention the whole time. You really get invested in this film. I will say Kathy Bates really carries this movie. I mean, her performance alone really just, without her, I don't know if it would have been as good with another person playing her character as Dolores Claiborne. You know, she really just, you're just intrigued with everything that goes on with her. You know, when she speaks, you really listen, and she just has that screen presence that's needed for a movie like this, only being really revolved around Christopher Plummer's character as the detective. You know, Jennifer Jason Leigh plays her daughter, and I forget who plays her, but you have the character of Vera Donovan. It's really focused around those four main characters. So for a movie that really just focuses on these people and their relationships with each other, you know, each person had to really deliver their parts, you know, show the emotion that needed to be shown within their characters and everything. I mean, this is definitely really a character-driven piece, as opposed to, I mean, there's not really a lot of action that goes on or anything like that. It's just mainly dialogue, but each person just really owns their part. So yeah, fantastic film though. I'll run through real quick what this movie is really about. You start out with the old lady, Vera. You're not sure if she's falling down the stairs or being pushed down the stairs or what's going on. It just happens like right at the start of the movie. And then once she falls down the stairs, you have Dolores, Kathy Bates' character, standing over her with a rolling pin, trying to end her life. And the mailman walks in and kind of puts a stop to it. So you're not really sure, you know, what happened there. And then eventually her daughter comes to see her after being contacted by Detective Mackey, and it kind of dives into the mother-daughter relationship there. And at the same time, you have the detective is also kind of hung up on the murder or accident or whatever, they're not really sure, that happened to her husband some years back. you know, he's determined that she killed him and he can't prove it. It's like one of his only unsolved cases to his satisfaction. I think it was like 85, 86 homicide cases that he solved to his satisfaction, and that was one that was kind of lingering there that was never solved to where he wanted it to be. So he's kind of using this as a way to get, I'll say, revenge, or get the satisfaction of that case through the case of her and the Vera character. It does flash back quite often to other scenes. It flashes back to her relationship with the Vera character. Vera was a really well-off person, pretty much lived by herself. Her husband only came like once a year to the house. She was a maid and servant and everything to her. She kept all her stuff clean, you know, doing her laundry, doing this and that, cleaning the house, and she would stay there during the off-season. This is, of course, another Stephen King movie set in Maine, and during the winter months, you know, is their off-season, but she would stay there and take care of the house and everything like that. And she kind of gives her some insight on what to do about a situation revolving her husband and her daughter. And it flashes back to things that happened between her and her husband herself. And just her husband had a really dark side, bad side to him, and definitely involving alcoholism and everything like that, along with some other stuff I'm not going to get into because I don't want to spoil everything for you guys if you have not seen this film. But definitely some disturbing subject matters, even for today's standards, which I will say this movie also, it held up really well. You know, I really love movies from like the mid-90s, or 90s in general, that focus on family problems and everything like that, because I really remember that time frame really well in life myself. So it just kind of, you know, things that were relevant then and still are now. And just movies from that era seem to focus a lot on real life problems and everything, and just, I don't know, just the way that they're shot, the way that they're acted, everything like that, especially this movie, it really, you know, gets to you at times. But kind of straying off here. Yeah, this movie is mainly, like I said, the focus point of the detective trying to seek retribution, or whatever you want to say, for the murder, accident, whatever. I mean, you come to find out in the movie what really happened. I'm not going to say what happened for what happened to her husband, and the relationship between Dolores and her daughter Selena, played by Jennifer Jason Leigh. She seems to, her daughter seems to block out a lot of memories that she had as a child, especially things that dealt with her and her father. And she's kind of repressed those memories, or she is on a lot of medications and things like that as well. You see a scene in here where Dolores is kind of going through her things and pulls out like 10 bottles of pills. So I don't know if she's just blocked these out, or if it's, you know, partly to do with the medications that she's on that have suppressed these memories for her. But you know, she finally starts to have memories, flashbacks of things that did happen between her and her father. And you see that Dolores is kind of left with no choice on what she ends up doing. Which, again, I'm not going to say. But, yeah, just a really dramatic, emotional experience in this movie. And, I mean, I kind of stopped it about 45 minutes in, went and did some other things, came back. And I didn't stop one more time till the 2 hours and 10, 11 minutes that this thing is. I was just so invested in these characters. And like I said, Kathy Bates just did a fantastic job as Dolores. I mean, she's good in everything she does, but she really just owned this movie. I mean, everybody's pretty much against her, automatically thinks that she's responsible for the death of Vera and her husband and everything, and nobody wants to listen to her, and she's kind of a you know, she even says in here, you know, sometimes being a bitch is the only thing a woman has to hold on to. You know, she holds her own. She doesn't back down for anybody. She just, you know, even the police and everything, she's really just straightforward with them, doesn't care, you know, if it costs her her life in prison or, you know, electric chair or whatever. She doesn't care. She knows the truth and everything. And there's a point in here where she finds out that the Vera lady ends up leaving her everything in her will that was written like 8 years before the time of her death. And that's really when this movie kind of takes a real turn, and everybody's, you know, kind of assuming that that was kind of like her motive to do this. And there's a point where her daughter's like, hey, you know, if she would have known about this, why would she care for this woman for 8 years, you know, changing her bedpans and changing, you know, her sheets and doing this and that and suffering through for, I think she was getting like $40 a week to do this stuff. And, you know, if that was the case, she would have done this sooner. But yeah, just a really fantastic film overall. I highly recommend this one, guys, if you have not seen it. This is a Stephen King film in the vein of like how Stand By Me is a Stephen King film, Hearts in Atlantis, Shawshank, stuff like that. It is not a horror film by any means. I mean, there's definitely some horrific things that happen in here, things that kind of are unsettling, but yeah, and there is actually a reference, I think it's towards the end, to Shawshank Prison, and there is a appearance in here as well. I might have missed some other ones, but I know the bank, the guy at the bank is the warden from Shawshank Redemption as well. So it was nice to kind of, you know, have that reference to Shawshank and see the warden in there and everything. But I'm not really sure if Stephen King movies have a lot of the same people in them or not. But yeah, so yeah, again, highly recommend this one, guys, if you have not seen it. And I think the inside is actually a little bit different. And there is some scenes in here where it's the eclipse going on and stuff. Some really good camera work and everything like that. You see in here, you know, the sunrise or sunset or whatever. There's some really good cinematography in here. I will say the quality on this, it wasn't as good as some of the other archive releases as far as the video quality. It was still a little bit pixely and things like that here and there, but not bad overall. I mean, Warner Archive always does a great job, so you definitely won't be disappointed in it. Doesn't look as good as Man from Atlantis looked fantastic, things like that, but this is definitely my favorite release I've reviewed from them so far, along with like Innocent Blood, and really enjoyed Bad Ronald as well, and a few others, but this is probably my favorite, if not, you know, definitely one of my favorite releases from them so far, as far as the movie itself. I'll leave a link down below to the Warner Archive site, and you can get them from like Amazon, stuff like that as well. But definitely, you know, keep an eye on their 4 for 44 sales and things like that. And this is definitely one to grab. If nothing else, buy the next one they have of those. I mean, this is definitely one I would watch again too, to see things that I might have missed on first viewing and things like that. But yeah, so that's going to be it for this review, guys. Let me know if you guys have seen this film. Leave comments down below, things like that. And again, if there's anything else you guys want me to review from Warner Archive, let me know and I'll request those as well. I know they do have 2 Shaft movies coming, Shaft's Big Score, Shaft in Africa, which I remember really liking those when I watched them a long time ago. I have the old Snapcase DVDs of them, so I definitely like to check those out again. And they are going to be releasing a set of all 3 of the original Shaft films as well. I know they released, not under Archive, but Warner Brothers released the first Shaft on Blu-ray, which I believe is out of print. But yeah, so yeah, Dolores Claiborne, 1995. Kathy Bates just definitely killed it in this movie. And I'll try to leave the trailer down below as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next review. Bye.
Dolores Claiborne, what the hell? Oh my God. You killed her.
This is not a trial. This is a preliminary inquest in all cases of death as suspicious in nature.
Someone to see you here.
I told you I don't want no lawyer.
Dolores, it's your daughter.
When was your last visit?
15 years ago. I didn't kill her.
I'm not murder that witch anymore, and I'm wearing a diamond tiara.
We need a piece of your hair, Miss Claiborne.
Take what you want. I ain't doing any beauty pageants this week.
That is the last guy in the world you want to make an enemy out of.
Motive, money.
I ain't making one. I'm keeping one.
Eyewitness testimony.
What is that supposed to mean?
A documented history of threats.
You gonna tell me you don't remember him?
Selena. We met before, Miss St. George.
Leave me alone!
I was the investigator when your father died.
No!
Maybe we should finish what was started 20 years ago.
You honest to God don't remember, do you?
I remember you hitting him!
You're an old hand at this, aren't you, Miss Claiborne? People do have a tendency to take some bad falls when you're around.
What did you do to him, Mommy? Why can't you believe my mother?
Because she's done it before.
You don't believe me, do you?
Selena, get in the house right now.
I am in the house.
Academy Award winner Kathy Bates. Jennifer Jason Leigh.
An accident, Dolores, can be an unhappy woman's best friend.